be going over the steps to a simple homemade pizza recipe. The ingredients are enough for 2 medium-sized pizza, and the recipe will be included in our student family housing cookbook, as well as in the description below. It takes about 2 hours total to make, including the dough rise time and baking time. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is make sure you have all of the ingredients ready. On the right are the ingredients for the dough, which are flour, yeast, salt, sugar, olive oil, and warm water. On the left are whatever toppings you want to use for the pizza. I've included the ones that I'll be using today. So the first step is to measure out 1 1/4 cup of warm water. I usually mix a little bit of boiling water with some cool or room temperature water. Then you want to check to make sure the water is warm enough, but not too hot that you can't stick your finger in it, because that means it'll kill the yeast. In a large or medium-sized bowl, you want to pour in the warm water that we just measured out with 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast that I sprinkle into the water, along with 2 tablespoons of sugar to help activate the yeast. Then you're going to let the mixture sit for about 10 minutes while the yeast blooms. Once bloomed, we add 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Mix it up a little and add in 3 cups of flour. I like to add in 1 cup at a time and mix in between. Once you have the 3 cups added, I use my hand to knead the dough for a minute or so until it's all nice and mixed in, which means that there's no extra flour or parts that are stickier than others. When it's ready, you can transfer the dough to a bigger bowl if you need, so that the dough is able to comfortably rise to double its size. Cover it with saran wrap or a towel and leave it in a warm, dry place for an hour. While you're waiting for the dough, you can prep your pizza toppings. Here I have about 2 1/2 cups of shredded cheese, about 1/2 cup of tomato paste, but any pasta sauce works as well. And then for my toppings, I chose bell peppers and ham. As I've said before, these are the toppings that I'll be using for my pizza, but you can get creative with it. I've made a caramel apple dessert pizza with this recipe that was quite popular with my friends. Some other toppings could be mushrooms, onions, or chicken. Just be sure not to add too many wet or oily toppings, or your pizza could come out soggy. After an hour, the dough should have about doubled in size. And once it's ready, we can start to form it. Flour a clean surface to make sure the dough doesn't stick, and then we're going to split the dough in half for 2 medium-sized pizzas, or more if you have a smaller pan or want mini pizzas. It's totally up to you. I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm going to be using my hands to stretch and form the dough into the shape of my pan here, which I've lined with aluminum foil. You can also layer it with oil instead. Once I have the dough to the right size, I transfer it onto the pan and adjust it a little bit so it fits better. And then I'll use a fork to poke some holes in it, which prevents bubbling when it's baking. I add a thin layer of olive oil, which is optional, but you can spread it with your hands or a brush if you have one. Then I take about 1/4 cup of the sauce, and I like to go right to the edge when I'm spreading it, but if you like crust, you can leave space for that. And then I add half the amount of cheese, which was about 1 1/4 cups. You can add more or less if you would like. And then I'll add the toppings, and I make sure to spread them as evenly as I can. So I like to kind of picture it as if each had their individual slices, and to make sure that each slice has an equal amount of each topping. So now your pizza is ready for the oven. Put your pizza in the oven and set it to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to bake the pizza for 12 to 15 minutes depending on your ingredients and crust preference. I bake this pizza for 13 minutes. And here we have our fresh homemade pizza. To top it off, you can add oregano, red pepper flakes, and arugula, as well as pair it with a dip. Then, enjoy! I hope you like this recipe and stay tuned for more fun homemade tutorials from the team.